Hi, I'm Patrick Hollick, and you're watching. Where shall I look? Oh, I'll look at my camera. You're watching and listening to a new episode of The Love Show. My guest's name is Liz. Give me the last name.
Mariscal.
Okay. And how do we know each other?
Oh my God. I go way, way back. Like, let's say, 20 years?
Yes.
Pretty much. It's been a long time, yes. We've known each other forever.
And how did we meet? The very beginning of my photo career.
Yes. You were just starting out.
I was.
So was I. I mean, I just got into the whole modeling career, and so we were both new at it.
Yes.
So we were both experimenting and having fun at the same time.
Mm. And what was our first shoot? Do you remember?
I think it was at your house.
Really?
Yeah.
So it was so it was like a test.
Yes.
Okay. And then we did
the photo shoot.
How come I only remember Alvera Street? Like, was that early on, or was it just what I remember?
Probably what you remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, we did a few shoots together.
Mm-hmm.
We did the magazine, and that was exciting. Paper magazine, I believe it was. And
yeah.
Shooting at your house was definitely
And
fun.
you just told me off camera a story. What was it that, like, we went to have lunch after our photo shoot, and I was shaming you, and I said, you can't have meat?
I was starving that day. I didn't eat anything. And you basically were like, I wanted to order a steak, and you're like, no. You're not getting a fucking steak. You can't have that.
Which is so psychotic because I'm a person at the time was probably eating only carne asada and like fucking a ribeye for breakfast. So like, what was I hypocriting on?
No.
It's weird, right?
Yeah, it was weird. But I'll never forget that because I was starving and I wanted to order some meat. And you were like, no, you're eating a salad. You're a model. Okay. I was like, okay.
That's funny.
You didn't want me to order anything that would make me fat.
That's so weird. That's illegal nowadays, right? With the PC culture.
Yes.
I'd be in jail. So tell me, when did you get into? Tell me we're going to talk about vaccines eventually, but how did you get into the medical field? How does it start?
I got a job in Beverly Hills working for a urologist and
urologist.
A urologist, and
I just went to one.
Oh, really?
I had the, what's it called, where they do they look at you for ultrasounds.
Your urethra?
Ultrasounds.
Okay.
Yeah, it was fun.
Oh, nice. I'm sure it was. But it was an interesting urologist. I mean, he did penis enlargements.
No.
So that was, that's another story.
That wasn't where I went. I just went for a checkup.
Yeah, I worked for him, and then I worked for a plastic surgeon that worked there as well. So I was there for a few years, and the plastic surgeon went and moved, and he started working next door, actually.
Okay.
And brought me along with him, and we left the urologist and started working with him. Got a little bored.
Yeah.
Wanted to do something different, and I got into the hospital. A friend got me in and started working labor and delivery, and it's definitely a lot of action going on there.
How did you just go from penis enlargement to plastic surgery
to vaginas
to deliver pediatrician? Yeah.
Not a pediatrician, OBGYN.
OBGYN.
Yes.
Okay.
How
many years did you stay in each? Like, I know where you're in now is delivering babies, but like, what was the other
It's
two?
been about 15 years. So I worked with the plastic surgeon for about 10.
Mm-hmm.
As he was working with the urologist. And then I went I've been there for about 13 years in labor and delivery.
Okay.
So I was at both for a long time. And then I decided to just because I had a baby and I wanted to spend time with her.
Yeah.
And the hospital is 3 days a week, 12-hour shifts. So I can have that time with my daughter for 4 days.
Yeah.
So.
You're an animal. You work all the time, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. How many babies do you think you've delivered or witnessed being delivered?
Hundreds.
Hundreds.
Yeah.
So
Definitely
cool.
thousands. I mean, there's times where, situations happen and I have to give advice to some doctors and, they'll take my advice and we, stop the bleeding because I work in a high risk. I work in Santa Monica. So there's a lot of people that like to wait to have a baby.
What do you mean?
Typically in like their 40s, and after 35, you're high risk.
High risk.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a very high stress job.
I bet.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow. When do you start hearing about COVID? When does that start happening at the hospital? What's the first? What was your first memory, and what month was it that you started hearing about it?
I would say I started noticing on I read articles on the Daily Mail, and I started noticing that something was going on in China. And my sister reads it as well, so we were kind of going back and forth with each other, corresponding like, hey, there's like this flu thing going on in China and it looks scary. I mean, they're pulling people out of their houses, and so I kind of went to work and started talking about it and telling people, hey, something's going on in China and I think it's getting a little scary. We should definitely start like preparing for this. And I went out and bought like a bunch of supplies and like medicine, and I doubled up on everything, to the toilet paper, to the toothpaste, and they all thought I was crazy. They're like, oh, you're losing it.
Yeah.
So I definitely prepared myself, and then March is when it hit, when they shut down the whole hospital, and it was only labor and delivery and COVID patients. And that's when it got really scary.
So basically, you've never stopped working.
I've never stopped working.
Okay.
I've
Shut down, but you weren't shut down. You were on the floor.
Yeah. So the main operating room where they were doing cases, like elective procedures, that all stopped. So it was just COVID patients and labor and delivery.
On the same floor?
No, separate floors.
I was going to say.
No, thank
intense.
God. No, so we're on the third floor.
Uh-huh.
And ICU is on the second. So they're totally separate from each other. Like we're on one side, each are on different parts of the hospital.
Okay. And do you do multiple? Is there multiple deliveries going on, or how does it work?
Definitely. I mean, there's either C-sections going on or emergency C-sections, or there's, for some reason, babies like to race each other, and all of a sudden we're having 4 babies at the same time.
Wow.
So it becomes very intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is every day.
Every
do
day.
like a 9 to 5 or a traditional shift, or is it, what's the hours like?
It's a definitely 12-hour shift.
12.
Yes, and sometimes you might have to stay over if things get a little hectic and crazy, or sometimes someone calls in sick and you're doing 24 hours. I mean, it's a high stress job.
Wow.
Definitely.
What's the longest delivery you've ever been through?
If we're in the operating room, then it can go up to like 5 hours if somebody starts to hemorrhage. And if we have to do like an emergency hysterectomy or whatnot, then that's the last
Thing you want?
thing we want to do.
Yeah.
So we try to stop the bleeding, and sometimes it can take hours. We've had to save a couple of people's lives there. And we have a thing called the massive transfusion protocol, where everything shuts down, like the blood bank. They all stop so they can help us, and rapid response team will come, or anybody that needs to come in to try to help us out. Then it's an awesome thing, because we've saved a lot of patients with that massive trans protocol.
What's your shortest delivery? Like, what's like the fastest thing you've seen?
Somebody come in the front door, the baby's coming out.
No, really?
She delivered, yes, in the hallway.
Really?
Like, baby coming out. Thank God she was wearing a skirt.
Wow.
One of the nurses caught the baby, and that was pretty amazing. And,
Wow.
The baby was born, and her husband was like, Mazel tov.
How many people watch versus don't watch? What's the ratio? Like, I don't know if I would want to watch.
Almost all. I mean, I've never seen where dad is not in the room.
Really?
Unless he's passed out, you
Yeah.
know, and we need to cater to him as well, because he's on the floor, because he's passed out and he has to go to the emergency room. But
So-
they're always there. And there's some people that will bring their children.
Really?
Yes.
That's kind of intense, right?
Yes. Like
Yeah.
a 9-year-old.
Would you bring your kid to watch, no, right?
And no, she knows what I do.
Yeah.
She's well aware.
Yeah.
She's 7, and I've told her.
You're
what,
creating lives.
Yes. I mean, she knows it comes out the vagina. She knows I don't hide that from her. So, but I would not have her in the room for sure.
Right. That's intense. And if the dude is always in the room, just most of the time.
Always, yeah.
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 So I'm the bad guy that was like, I don't know if I want to watch.
Wow.
I guess it's not watch the specifics. It's like definitely be with your girl and hold her hand and do the breath exercises and you rehearse that, right?
Yes.
I guess I thought of watching more as like some voyeuristic, like looking at the.
Well, you don't want to
that-
look. So we
Right.
typically tell the dads, like, just stay up there. Don't look
Stay
down.
up there like in her eye line.
Yes, and
Yeah.
her eye line.
That's what I mean.
You know, you don't want him watching the baby coming out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something that
Intense.
he might remember forever. And, you know, so we're just like, okay, you just stay up there, give her support, and don't look down.
Has it gotten less intense because you're always doing it, or is it just something that's just a routine now, or do you always get a certain excitement or nervousness with it, or is it just like it's another day at the office?
Well, when I first go into work, I like to say, expect the worst, hope for the best, because you never know. Someone could be fine, have the baby comes out, and all of a sudden the patient starts bleeding. So that is pretty scary. I mean, it can really get intense, and your adrenaline goes up definitely like 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
And then once, you know, it's all said and done and the patient is fine and she's stable, then your adrenaline drops and you're so exhausted, but you have to get through like 10 more hours of the day. So it's something exciting every day. It's like the ER. You never know what's going to come in the door.
Out of 100%, what percentage is just like a typical birth versus some sort of dramatic life issue?
I mean, you don't know. You can't really pinpoint like what the percentage is.
Of what
because
you've seen, you know?
Of what I've seen, I mean, it just depends. There's a lot of different factors. Like if somebody's already had a second child, the baby could come a lot faster, and usually does, almost always.
I know nothing. That's why I'm interested.
Yeah. And I mean, and then there's some patients that, you know, they push twice and the baby comes out really
Wow.
quickly. So, you know, that's the beauty of the unknown, is not knowing what's going to happen and how the patient, I mean, if the dad has a big head and he's like 6'4", then you're like, oh, this baby might not come out from below.
Do you do that? Do you look at the guy to see what's coming?
All the time.
Really?
All the nurses do.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, a lot of times the doctors will just say, okay, this, you know, we'll give them a shot, but we're going to end up in the operating room because this baby's not going to come out.
Right.
Yeah.
How was your birth? Was it hard? Was it easy?
Oh my God.
It
Of
was
course,
tough?
because I work there.
Uh-huh.
it
Did you
was-
deliver it where you work?
No, actually, I didn't want to. I thought that was like too personal.
Yeah, it's
for them
very
to know
personal.
everything.
It's not like leaving an Instagram post up. It's a little real.
Yeah, I didn't want that, but I mean, I wish after what happened to me, I delivered at Huntington and Pasadena, and I was high risk. I had a lot of issues, and my doctor decided to do a C-section, and I just said, okay, fine, let's just get it over with. So I made that decision, and then I remember I was pretty quiet because I didn't want to be that complaining patient, but I felt like I was going to pass out. So I asked the doctor to give me some oxygen. And luckily, I used to work with him, the anesthesiologist, and I was so happy that he was there that day. And he put some oxygen on me, and then I remember just falling asleep. I don't remember anything. I remember them kicking my... the only thing I remember is them kicking my husband out of the operating room and my sister. So that's when I kind of knew something was wrong.
Okay.
And then I woke up. I was going to be transferred to the ICU, and I had hemorrhaged. I needed a blood transfusion. They gave me some meds that I know that, you know, some bad things happened. I think they nicked an artery, and they couldn't stop the bleeding.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was scary. And when I got to the ICU, there was like 10 people, doctors, nurses waiting for me. And I mean, they took excellent care of me. And the doctor was like, okay, we put some stuff inside you, like gauze. It's called a packing. And if we take it out, you might hemorrhage some more, and we might have to do a hysterectomy. So I have one child, and I decided not to do that again.
No more children for you?
No
think?
more. I'm
Yeah.
done.
That's intense.
That was high. That was a high risk surgery. You know, like it was pretty intense. So,
Yeah.
you know, I'm blessed that they did a great job, and I'm still alive today. You know. definitely.
So you started out talking about COVID. You had read about it and you'd been watching the news. When does it start getting to be protocols and stuff at the hospital?
That's when the schools started to shut down.
Okay.
And of course the higher ups made that decision. They were like, okay, we're going to stop all elective procedures and we're going to focus on just COVID and labor and delivery, because we can't close labor and delivery. If somebody's pregnant and they're going to have a baby, you can't stop that. So, that's when they made the decision to shut everything down.
Right.
Yeah. So
So
that was pretty scary.
were you scared to go to work at first when you don't know anything and you're just supposed to wear a mask and a hazmat suit? What were you dressing like?
They weren't really enforcing the mask thing yet.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, pretty much making us come into work and kind of social distance.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we were scared at the time because we were running out of supplies.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, I was crying on Instagram because I was so scared, and I had some people bring me some N95s because there was a shortage. There was a shortage of, all of a sudden we didn't have supplies like gowns and gloves to wear. So that became very scary.
Wow.
Yeah.
And now is there a whole system in place?
Yes. So now they email us and tell us how many COVID patients we have. They'll tell us if we're running low on certain supplies. At one point, they were having us reprocess the N95 masks.
What does that mean?
That means they were re-sterilizing them.
Okay.
And giving them back to us so we can reuse them.
So it was like shortages.
Yeah, a major shortage issue with that.
Mm-hmm.
And
did you have to get tested to go to work? Do you have to do a certain amount of tests?
believe it or not, they're not testing us.
Really?
Yeah.
This is breaking news.
I mean, I know a lot of other hospitals are, but
Yeah.
Where I work, they do not.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're just going to be like delivering babies having COVID.
Yeah, exactly. But they want to make sure that we're wearing our proper PPE, which is, our gowns and our
Do you
masks
wear the
and
face
gloves.
shield too?
Yes, you have to. It's something that they strongly suggest that you use when you go into a delivery, because a patient is pushing.
Sure.
So that when
What
they're
does
pushing,
that mean? Yeah.
when they're pushing, they're breathing out and they're yelling and screaming, and so that can be, they're projectiling their
DNA,
air.
Yeah. Are they masked up or no?
They have to wear a mask.
They have to wear a mask
Yes.
giving birth.
Yep.
Like it's not hard enough.
Yes, and it was really sad at the beginning because in the beginning we stopped dads from coming in, so that was heartbreaking.
Okay.
When they would come up, and then we would have to ask the dads to leave
Leave the hospital.
Yeah. So that was hard because then she's having her baby all
It's
alone.
so impersonal and offensive and everything bad.
Yeah, and I mean it's just hard because the dads, they had no control over that. At that point, there's no control over the whole situation. So, I mean, we tried to, be their support for them as much as we could. And then they're going over to postpartum, and they have no support as well because there's no dad there to help them take care of the baby while they get their rest.
Right.
So it was hard on the nurses.
How fast is postpartum set in some cases? Like, I know it's probably unpredictable, but
I mean, if the patient's stable, they can go over from an hour to 2 hours and they get transferred over. So then they're there. And typically if you have a vaginal birth, then it's like 2 days. If you have, if you're in a C-section, then you're there for 4 days.
It's funny. I was associating postpartum with depression.
Oh.
I thought it was like, they go right to the depression room. No, because I know some friends that are like, they said they postpartum in the sense of the depression is just like once they have the kid, they're just kind of like, oh yeah, it's over there, and they're just disconnected, and like some weird shit comes, a storm comes.
No,
I don't know. As a filmmaker, we talk about it with films because when we're done with a film, we slide off into a massive depression because like we don't have the crew, we don't have the being creative at 1,000%. No one gives a shit. You're like lights, and they're like turn them on, or like get some food if you want to order. And you're like, wait, what? It's like a new world.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, I'm sure the patient actually feels that way because there's like 5 people in the room and there's all this support and the baby comes out and then we all leave. And then they go off to postpartum, and then there's one nurse that's caring for them. Like, what happened? Where's the crew?
Always the mean nurse. It's like, I don't know, darling. I could ask somebody else later.
I'll get your meds,
Yeah. I had my appendix taken out, and I remember waking up in that like room. It was like these 2 chicks playing cards. And I was like, I'm alive. And they're like, what's wrong with you, dude? You know what I mean? I'm like, where am I? And then they're like, you can't leave until you pee. And then that got me mental. So I was like, I couldn't pee for like 5 or 6 hours because I just wanted to leave. But they're like, you can't leave until you pee.
Yeah. I mean, there's protocol.
Yeah, protocol. So how many people have you seen that have full-blown COVID, mothers delivering babies that are in the midst of COVID?
So a couple months ago, I actually... we had to get prepared because we had a patient. She was very sick. She was in the ICU. And she was on the verge. She was on the highest oxygen that you can receive. But she was going to get ready to go on a vent. And so we had to be prepared for that. Mm-hmm. And it was very intense, as far as, okay, we need to make a plan. What's going to be our plan? Because, I mean, you don't have a plan for COVID is new, mm-hmm. something that we had to like construct ourselves and try to make a plan to what was going to happen. Mm-hmm. So at that time, we ended up having a plan to deliver the baby as soon as, if anything happened, if she coded, we would have to definitely get the baby out as soon as possible.
Coded means?
If she passed away.
Okay. Coded.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
did they induce?
We induced her. We actually.
So you get the
her.
plan together, you induce her, and you go for the plan. And the plan is to save baby or save woman.
Well, if somebody codes, then I mean they die. So you're gonna try to get that baby out as soon as possible because they're already losing oxygen at that point. Mm-hmm. But we wanted to induce the patient. Because, which means like make her go into labor.
Right.
Because we wanted to not get her to that point where she was going to be on a ventilator. Mm-hmm. So we constructed a plan to have her deliver in the operating room where they had it set up for COVID patients. Mm-hmm. So it was a big process. I didn't know that I was going to be in that. Mm-hmm. That
scenario.
Yes, exactly. It was very scary. I mean, it was like an hour before. Hey, you're up. You're going with the doctor that's 80 years old.
Is there an 80-year-old delivery doctor?
Oh yes, and he's the best.
He's probably seen a few.
Oh yeah.
How many kids has he delivered? 1 million?
Oh yeah, I'm sure. And he's amazing. He actually is one of the doctors that will still deliver a breech baby.
What is a breached baby?
Where the baby is basically it's butt's coming out first.
Okay,
not the head.
I'm learning. I don't.
That's why I'm trying to do it and
breached baby.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's amazing, but I was scared for him because he's 80 years old.
Yeah. Also, he could get COVID and pass.
Yes, definitely. In my mind, I mean. I went there with my mind like, oh, I'm going to get COVID and I'm going to get sick. And what if I die? I mean, and then as I was walking down, mentally preparing myself, because that's what you have to do before a big case. You have to mentally prepare yourself. I started saying, hey, I was talking to myself and I was saying, hey, this is scary for the patient. Like, she doesn't have her husband here. He's not allowed because she has COVID.
Right.
She's going to have a baby and the baby's going to get taken away from her because it has to go to isolation. So it was going to get transferred to another hospital. Mm-hmm. And she's sick, she's scared,
stacked.
It was a lot, and when she came in, I mean, it was pretty intense, like watching her with this big oxygen mask on and, and you're worried about, I was more worried about the doctor because he's 80 years old. I don't want him to get sick,
Does anyone come in a sense of like a therapist or somebody that holds her hand and plays dad? Is there anyone, or is it just like this real insensitive medical procedure with no Yeah,
there's no one there. I mean, we're the support.
I got you.
And we're the ones that talked to her and told her everything was going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
She was a Hispanic woman that spoke Spanish, so I spoke
You
to
speak
her.
fluent Spanish, yeah?
No, I'm okay. I'm
Yeah?
not too perfect with it,
Oh,
but
yeah?
I mean, I did talk to her and I told her that everything was going to be fine and we're going to take good care of her. So she looked scared. She was coughing a lot.
Sure.
She was pretty sick. And right after the baby was born, it was incredible. Like, she felt better. She was laughing, and
Wow.
we were telling her how beautiful the baby was, and she was pretty happy. So she was in good spirits. I mean, she actually ended up doing really well.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and she ended up leaving a couple days after. So it was miraculously that it was awesome that she did good and she went home with her baby.
That's amazing.
I know.
Because it didn't sound like that was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's
and
all
the baby
unknown.
never got COVID.
The baby never got COVID.
No.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of our protocols at work, that when you have a baby and you deliver, the baby stays with you. So, it's interesting how that works out. You would think that the baby would automatically leave the room.
Mm-hmm.
But the husband stays and the baby gets to stay with them as well.
How about now? No.
No, it's the same thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. But not with the COVID woman.
Yes.
She had the baby.
And the baby stays in the room.
Even though she's COVID.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It is
Every time I think I figure this out, I don't.
Well, they want you to wear a mask, and the patient, and they want, we go in full doffed on with the gear on, and we have like a negative pressure room. Mm-hmm. So there's a room where it's sucking all of the air out of there. So then it's not pushing out. So when we open the doors to get out of the room, it's not pushing COVID out. Mm-hmm. And we have kind of like E.T. Remember when he was dying?
Yeah.
And they had all their gear on. I mean, it kind of reminds you of that with the zippers and
you're in that for 12-hour days.
Yeah. You're
rocking that look for 12 hours.
If the patient, once the nurse comes out, she has to be very careful how she takes her gear off.
Right.
That's one of the things.
Is it hot and crazy?
Oh yeah, you're drenched in sweat because you're wearing this plastic gear on, and you're wearing an N95, and you're wearing another mask, and you're wearing your shield, and so it's pretty intense.
How amazing is it when you just you're done for the day? You just burn that thing.
I can't wait to walk out of the hospital and
smell
go to the car
air.
and take off my mask and just breathe air. Yeah. I mean, people that complain about wearing a mask, it's really, you go to the market, you're there for an hour. What's the big deal?
Yeah, we're wearing a 12-hour shift.
12 hours. We have to wear it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's. I mean, I don't like to hear when people complain about masks because it's dude, we have to be there for 12 hours wearing it. And it's almost every day,
Mm-hmm. So when did you start hearing about the possibility of a vaccine?
A couple of months ago.
Mm-hmm. And how did they speak in the medical community about these kind of things?
They didn't really talk about it. I mean, you work with, great doctors that and anesthesiologists that are very smart, and they like to come up and share their knowledge with us. Mm-hmm. And that's the great thing, is that there's a lot of smart people there that you can talk to, and they've read up and looked at all of the aspects of are we going to get a vaccine? Is one coming? Is it going to be effective? And we have people now that are scared to take the vaccine because
Did you have apprehension?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course, because it's something new. I mean. Mm-hmm. In a couple months, they have a vaccine. And
there's both all kinds of information, pro and con, every day. All my friends are talking about the various. Did you do the Pfizer or the Moderna? Do you know?
I actually, yes, I did the Pfizer.
The Pfizer.
Moderna, I think it's, they lay it out this week.
They're
Monday.
just a little behind.
They're a little behind.
So you heard about it. You learn it's coming. Do you know that you're going to get it? Because of your job?
No.
You didn't know?
No.
It was still all who knows?
Yeah, exactly. And it was all hearing it on the news.
So nothing inside the hospital saying hey, there's a chance that we're going to get a bunch of doses?
No.
No.
So
and then how does the day come when you're going to get one? What's that presented like?
They basically sent us an email
Really?
saying that we had an option to get. So it was an option.
Okay.
You know, it wasn't forced on us or anything like that. So it was basically an option. Do you want to get it? And so you had to sign up for it, and then you had to schedule an appointment. So
Okay.
we waited about a week, and then they opened up the appointments,
Uh-huh.
and that's when it got exciting.
And what percentage of the team, like how many people do you work with? Is it like 12, 20? How many people do you?
There's at least like 40 different nurses, and doctors, but you rotate because you do 3 days a week, so you don't know who you're actually working with that day. So, and then there's the night shift team.
Okay.
So there's a big percentage of people that actually wanted to get it.
Okay. So out of, say, 40 people, how many people signed up to get it?
I would say about 35.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did my man, the 80-year-old doctor, get one? I hope he did.
Yes, he did. So
He
it's
did?
funny because that day, the day I got it, it was a Thursday, and he was there, and he was very upset because he was like, "Why am I not getting a text back? Like, I really think I'm 80 years old. I really need to get this vaccine."
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, we need to talk to somebody. We need to get, the COO to know that, you need to get the vaccine. It's very important.
Yeah.
So we got our director up there. He's like, there's nothing I can do. I have no control. This is,
It's so crazy because he's kind of he's the guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like you lose him, everyone's like, I don't know what to do
What
with
are we
these
going to
babies.
do?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's the world we live in. It's always just like 1 inch of fucking stupidity. You're
Yes.
just like a big mishap.
exactly.
They got like the person that does the linens and shit. They're like, she's first or he's first.
Yeah.
And the old guy that does all the stuff he's last. It just makes no sense. But anyway.
It doesn't. But
So tell me back your day. You do your email. You had to fill out a lot of stuff or not very much?
so no, they kind of just ask you if you're in moderate risk or high risk.
Does it say like if you die, it's not on us or anything like that?
No, but you
It
kinda
doesn't say
think
that in the
maybe
fine print?
might be
Yeah.
something that if you don't get it,
Like, you
but
can never come after Pfizer.
but that day, so I was scheduled on Friday the next day for at 4:20. I was scheduled for my
4:20.
appointment.
It's good luck.
4:20. I scheduled it at 4:20.
Okay.
So that Thursday, apparently they had just started doing the vaccines.
Okay.
And so we're hearing like people are going and getting it and they're fine. And so 6:00 rolls around and the COO comes over and he looks in a frantic. He's in a frantic. And we're like, what's going on? He's like, I need 3 people to go with me to get the vaccine right now. And I was like, oh,
Why 3 people?
because once they open the vial, that's it. Like you take it out of the freezer. It's only good
So you
for
do
6
3
hours.
at a time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So not 3 at a time. He just needed 3 people because he needed to vaccinate 3 other people because he had 3 syringes left.
Got it.
So, the vial, once you take it out of the freezer, it's only good for 6 hours.
Okay.
So they needed to give these lax vaccines or else they would run out.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't good anymore. They would have to throw it away.
Mm-hmm.
So I called immediately to Dr. Moran. I was like, Dr. Moran, like, you don't understand. They want to give us the vaccine right now. You get over here right now. I mean, he can't walk too fast. He's 80 years old. So
Yeah.
he's like, we got to go now. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not leaving without Dr. Moran. He's like, don't worry. We'll make sure he gets it. So we're walking down the hall and there's Dr. Moran. And I was like, Dr. Moran, please, like, you need to hurry. You need to come with me now. So we rushed over and thank God he ended up getting the vaccine. And
That's great.
It was amazing.
Tell me what it's like. Is it a long needle, short needle? What does it feel like? Tell our listeners what it's like, because we're not probably allowed to have one until like 2023 if everything goes well.
Not.
No, I'm joking. I think it's going to be a while for humans.
I think with this, I think maybe next year. I mean,
Maybe, yeah.
I'm hoping, that, this is the whole point of doing this is that I wanted to show people, look, you can get the vaccine and you're going to be fine the next day. I posted, my side effects and
Tell me,
whatnot.
let's hear it. So
Yeah.
you sit down, is the needle 7 feet long or is it a prick? What is
No,
it?
it's a little prick.
What's the process?
It was actually better than a flu shot.
Okay.
I
I
didn't-
haven't had a flu shot, but what's the process? It's just like, Tell me.
It's like 1 cc. I mean, it's nothing. It little needle goes in your arm. I didn't feel a thing.
Like measles and mumps style, just
Yeah.
a skin pop. They don't even find a vein.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like a skin pop. And went in, and I think you kind of get a little paranoid because you're like, okay, what am I gonna start feeling
start
it?
turning into a
Like-
giraffe?
Am I going to pass out and have an allergic reaction? Of course, your mind goes there, you know?
Is anyone in the room making a face like,
No, not at all. Like,
No.
I mean, it was pretty serious at that point because it was like the first day that they're rolling out the vaccine.
were you first day?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was the first day. I was like, wow, this is happening.
Only at the Love Show do you get the first day.
the first
Vax.
day. That was awesome. At our hospital, of course.
Okay.
But, you know,
Did anyone have any weird reactions to it that you went with or heard from? Or
so,
what? Let's start with yours. I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead. What did it feel like? Did you have pain in your arm? Tell me your side
not
effects.
at all. I mean, they have to monitor you afterward. So they do like a 20-minute monitor where you have to sit there and they want to make sure that you don't have any kind of reaction. But as I'm walking in, of course, there's some kid. He looked like he was 20 years old, and he had some monitors on him, and he looked a little pale.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it had to do with the fact that he was getting a shot.
Probably scared to death.
Scared. But his heart rate was up, and, you know, they took him down to make sure he was okay in the ER. But I mean, he seemed fine. I mean, I'm sure he's fine. Those are kind of one of the side effects. Heart racing.
Heart goes up.
Yes.
And it stays up for a while?
Yeah. So
Okay.
they just they took precautions and they took him down to the ER. And as that's happening, I'm standing there waiting for the vaccine. So I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
what's going to happen to me?
Yeah.
But, you know, I sat down. I was like, I'm going to be a big girl and I'm going to take this just like the doctor did.
Yeah.
And my other friend, one of the other nurses. And so we sat there and we waited, and like 15 minutes goes by, and one of the nurses is like, I got to go. I got a baby to catch. Like, I'm going to deliver a baby. The baby's coming out, so I got to go. So she left, and
So she got the shot and didn't wait for too much monitoring?
yeah, she left like within 15
Gangster.
minutes.
Yeah.
And myself and the doctor kind of hung out there, and I posted that I got the vaccine.
I saw that. That's
Yeah.
what got me excited to have you on.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen, you're the very first post I've seen getting the vaccine.
Other than the media. So
No, I didn't see any of that.
No?
I've been ignoring that since March.
Okay.
I can't. It's just too volatile out there.
Yeah.
I check a couple sources in the morning and then get on with my day and check at night to see if there's anything that, you know, the world didn't end, you
Yeah.
know, and then I go back to work.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was exciting for me, and I was just like, okay, now what's next? What's to come with the side effects? Like, what kind of side effects am I going to get? So I went home. I went to bed. I did wake up with a slight headache, nothing major, and that was it. My arm was hurting just a little bit, not as much as a flu shot.
Okay.
The flu shot, I like wanted to cry. That's how bad
Really?
it hurt. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but this didn't hurt. Like, it just was a little sore in the area. And then I had the headache. They make you, you have to check in like every day. They'll send you a message saying it's time for your daily check-in. So they want to know how you're feeling, what your symptoms are on a daily basis. So that's good that they're monitoring us as well. And then you get a card and it says what type of vaccine you received, like the Pfizer. And so, you know, after 21 days, you go back to get your second dose.
Okay. And it's the same thing, just another dose, or it's
Yeah.
a different thing?
It's the same thing.
Okay.
But your body's already building up with the antibodies. So you're basically, your body's gearing up to get the second dose. So once you get the second dose, that's when your body starts to fight it off. It's trying to fight off the virus. So I'm a little hesitant. I'm going to be honest. I mean, it's a little scary to know that you can possibly have stronger side effects.
I see. On the second round.
Yes, on the second round.
Okay, so that's where the people are supposedly, because it's just in the news that they're getting the Mount Palsy or the
Bell's palsy.
Bell's
Yeah.
palsy. What is Bell's palsy? Technically, it's like when you have a nervous reaction in your muscle.
Yes, and then it becomes paralyzed.
Yeah, not permanently though.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. It can go back. I mean, so we heard like what 4 cases maybe, but I was willing to take that risk.
My favorite Bell palsy story is some kid back in upstate New York. He did a massive wedding, beautiful guy, beautiful girl, and then the bachelor party and the leading up to the wedding, he decided to do a line of cocaine that was like 3 feet long. And he got Bell's palsy. So all the photographs of the wedding are like one of his sides of his face is just dropped on the ground. And she was livid, of course, because they had the photos and the wedding. And he looks like he had a stroke. That's bad, right?
Yes. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you had heard about anyone having it that you know, or it's just something in the news? Like a reaction, extreme reaction of any kind?
No, actually, everyone that I've worked with that has gotten it, I mean, it went from everyone being scared to everyone racing to go get the vaccine. Like they were very eager. And so last, what was it on today's Wednesday? Yesterday. I mean, everyone was going and getting the vaccine because they don't want to waste it again. So they have like so many people that are getting it, like the valet guys, the housekeepers, because they really need it. They're the ones cleaning up
they're
after
action
COVID.
everywhere. Yeah.
So they're getting it as well. And they're so lucky because so many people want it. You know, it's a hot commodity right now.
Yeah. I mean, look at your demographic. You're like, what? Not even a percentage of the population right now has what you have.
Yeah.
Like no one has this.
I know.
It's such a
And that's one of the things that I've had to convince a few people of, like, oh, you know, I don't want to get it. Like, why not? You know, what's your reason? You know, it's all these conspiracy theories.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad writing out there.
Yes.
Like I was told right away, don't get Pfizer or Moderna because it's working with that God gene. It's going to alter your DNA forever. And wait for Johnson & Johnson because they're working with dead virus. And I just started reading about it, and they're like, we're absolutely not working with, I don't know what it's called, RS or RM DNA. There's
RNA.
There's something, yeah. I don't understand those. Do you?
Not too much. I mean, not really. But the thing about it is that there was a guy that told me his was way off, like HIV. They never found the cure for that. They haven't found the cure for cancer, but yet they all of a sudden have a vaccine for COVID. I'm like, okay, wait a minute here.
They've done great work in AIDS. I mean, I've seen guys that were like on death's door that came back with what they call the cocktail or the shake. I mean, Magic Johnson successfully living a big life with HIV.
Well,
so
you have to have sex to like get HIV.
No, I know, but I'm saying the medical has done really good with it.
Yeah,
like people aren't falling off anymore.
Exactly, yeah. and but those are the things that people are scared of the vaccine, and I'm like, that has no correlation with what's happening right now. Like,
no, I get it.
And the thing about it is, I told him, I'm like, you like going to your favorite restaurants, right? It's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, so do you want this economy to fall apart? And it's gonna collapse.
Yeah.
If we don't get it together and we don't get a vaccine to everyone, and if we do that, then we can move on with our lives. My daughter can go back to school.
Yeah.
You know, everybody needs to be on board. Just like with the whole mask thing, people don't want to wear it, and then they get COVID. You know, and there's people out there that do everything in the book. Like, they don't go anywhere. Yeah. And they're terrified to leave their house, and they get COVID.
Yeah.
You know, it's either the delivery guy or the postal service guy. You don't know who you're coming in contact with, and they still get COVID. So, he ended up, I saw him yesterday getting the shot. He got the vaccine.
Who?
The guy that was telling me I'm not going to get it, and I talked to him about it, and he was there. He was standing in line to get the vaccine. So I was really happy that he did that, and he made the right choice, because you don't want to be the last one in a hospital where everyone else is vaccinated and you're not. I mean, I think that starts to set in. Like, everyone else is doing it and they look fine and they're doing great. Why not? Why not get the vaccine?
Yeah.
We're so blessed and so lucky that we were able to get the vaccine right now. I mean, I went to CVS the other day. I wanted to tell everybody, hey, I got the vaccine.
Yeah, yeah.
Just because, it's an exciting thing, And I mean, I know a lot of people don't want to do it, but I mean, I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing great. I had just mild side effects.
When do you go back for the next one?
I would say around the 17th.
17th.
Yeah.
And that dose is supposed to, once again, it's the same dose, or it's just it's a variant, so you get...
It's the same dose.
But people react to that dose more than they do the first dose.
Yes.
Okay.
For some reason, you're getting the side effects. I mean, some people might have gotten some, fever, chills, or whatnot with this side effect.
Yeah.
I mean, with the first dose.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, thank God I didn't. So I'm hoping that happens again.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Well, their success rate is what, 95%?
95% effective, yeah.
That's crazy.
I know.
Yeah, that's the highest in a long time, right?
Yes, because the flu shot is like 48%.
They were pushing
if they can get it right.
I went to the doctor for a routine checkup, and they were pushing a flu shot so hard the other day. I don't know why. I was just like, I don't want it.
Well, because a lot of people right now with the winter, they're thinking, do I have the flu or do I have COVID? Do I have a cold? Because I know a few people that have gotten sick already, and they with no interaction with a lot of people, but they have gotten a cold or the flu.
Mm-hmm.
And so they go right away to get tested, and they're negative with COVID.
Mm-hmm. So
they're sick. They have a cold or a flu. So you're going to have a lot of people that are being paranoid because they don't know what they have, So that's scary for the winter.
It seems like everyone I know that's gotten COVID says headache, loss of taste, everyone.
Yes.
And then it was good or bad, or I was exhausted for a long time, like super tired. Like, I just wanted to sleep all the time.
Yes. And I have...
and brain fog. Like, they kind of feel like they lost they're just brain fog. Just like, just a mess.
Yes.
But not
it is.
scarier outside of that, my friends. But that's as far as it's gone.
Well, my sisters had it, and a close friend of mine and my brother have had it. And I think it just depends on the person. I mean, my sister got it pretty severe. Like I bought her a pulse oximeter, and that's to check your oxygen levels to make sure that, she would be fine. Like if it goes below 95, then you start to get a little concerned. She did have like the shortness of breath. She had the chills, the fever, the diarrhea, the headaches. I mean, she had everything that you can think of as far as having symptoms. And she said she doesn't wish it on her worst enemy. I mean, you're sick for 2 weeks. Could you imagine being stuck in your house, in your bedroom, and you can't leave? I don't wish that on anyone.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So you go back to tomorrow. How many kids are you going to deliver?
I'm actually off. It's Christmas.
You're off?
It's Christmas.
Oh, they believe in Christmas?
Some do, but some don't.
You got seniority over there, so you got to reserve your Christmas?
No, I get to work New Year's Eve and New Year's Day.
Oh no, really?
Yeah, you gotta
Pick
put
your
in your
battles.
work. You gotta put in
Is
your
that
work.
because you have a daughter and you want to be with her for Christmas, and New Year's is just a party for adults?
Well, New Year's, we can't have any parties, so might as well work, and get paid time and a half for that. So I just decided to do New Year's. I mean, I don't really care about, I do care about a new year, because hopefully it's going to get a lot better this 2021.
Right. You think? I think probably middle 2021, towards the end 2021.
I'm hoping. I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of worried because of the holidays. We're going to have
a spike.
A bigger surge.
Yeah.
Because we did after Thanksgiving.
Yes.
So I think definitely this is going to happen again.
Mm-hmm.
That it's going to get... I mean, we're the worst right now. California.
I know. California is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
We're bad.
At least we're winning something, right?
Yeah, I try to stay off the news, but I think it's just bad for your mental health.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people are spending the holidays alone, and that's going to be scary. It's not only about COVID. It's about people's mental health.
Oh, my God, yeah.
You know,
I've been feeling last night, and about 4 of my friends were all like, last night was hard, and it was not for any reason. It was just gray out. It was cold out. It was just kind of like well, I'm sure people will laugh if you say it was cold out in Los Angeles, but
60,
There was
yeah,
some
it's
sort
cold.
of energy last night that was incredibly forceful. That wasn't like towards the optimistic night I had the night before, and
Yeah.
it was for no reason. You know,
Yeah, I kind of feel like a Scrooge this Christmas, like not wanting to get gifts, even though I did
it doesn't
do my
feel like a
shopping.
Christmas to me. Yeah, it just feels like it's just like a winter day.
Yeah, exactly. But I gotta keep going and pretend like everything's great for my daughter that's
Yeah.
7, and make sure that she's okay. And
Seven's my favorite number.
Oh,
September 7th is my birthday.
Oh,
I
really?
like sevens everywhere. Yeah.
That's funny. My daughter's the September 22nd.
What is she sign wise?
I think she's like both. She's on the cusp
Of
of like, what are you?
Virgo?
Virgo and Leo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So she's like right there on the date. So she's probably a little bit
She's
of
gonna
both.
run shit.
Yeah,
Those two signs.
She
Yeah.
acts like it for
Yeah.
sure. A little bossy.
So leaving on a high note, we're gonna wrap it up. What's the plan for the new year? Are you do you want to deliver babies personally, or like what do you want to do with the future?
I've thought about becoming a doula.
Uh-huh.
I like the fact that you get to help someone deliver a baby, and this is one of the most intimate moments of someone's life.
You could do it right now from what you know, right?
Oh yeah,
Just not
for
like
sure.
you're not what is it called? Licensed, right?
Yeah, I mean, I do it now. Like, we sit there and we're support for the patient. And sometimes, if we're not busy, we can go into a room and try to walk a person through it because they forget or they never went to Lamaze classes and they never learned how to push, so you're there as moral support and you show them how, because you're on the outside, you're not actually doing it. So when you're doing it, it's a different story. You're like, open those legs wide, push the baby out, and you have to like control the breathing. And some people choose not to have an epidural and you have to kind of snap them out of the pain.
Right.
So, I mean, I enjoy doing that. That's something that I can see myself pursuing. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
All right. Well, maybe we'll have you back to have part 2 to see how you did.
I know, with the second dose.
Are you excited?
Yes, I am. I can't wait. These days
Do you
are
want to
like,
shout out anyone from the team or say anything
shout out
to
to
your
Dr.
massive
Moran.
audience?
Just shout out to everyone that, these frontline workers, they're amazing. The ICU, to the OBGYN nurses. I mean, to go in and not, it's like you're going to war. You're putting on your war gear and you're hoping that, you don't contract something and possibly die. Like you have to like, have this bravery to be able to go into a room with somebody that other people would be terrified and not want to go into that room. But, you have to look at it every day, and we have to go to work and get up every day. And, some nurses are upset because some people are going out and they're doing things and they're not social distancing or they're not wearing a mask and they don't care. I mean, this is serious. It's not fake. And, I commend them very much. I mean, everyone that works in the medical field that are dealing with COVID patients.
You.
Yeah, myself.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
All right. I'll see you. We'll speak again soon.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Let me test like this.
Got the... Yeah.